Adobe just bought Semrush. What the fush? And that too for 1.9 billion American dollars. Jamaican dollars would have been nice, but USD. Now, SEOs are thinking that this is a positive sign for the industry because giant like Adobe is investing that much money on an SEO tool. So it must be good news, but that's not the whole picture. Marketers don't know Adobe, but I do. I was an Adobe child long before joining the Google gang. So let's dive in this case and see the whole picture behind Adobe and Semrush deal. Now, this deal is very good thing for Semrush because every SEO and the people who think that they know SEO know that Semrush is past its prime time. So it's a very good deal for them and their investors that Adobe is purchasing them. But Adobe just bought a boat with a giant hole in it while standing on a sinking ship. I have been using Adobe products way before SEO or marketing. In fact, from 2002 when Photoshop used to look like this. And I am a loyal customer of Adobe. I have been paying to Adobe from 2008 or 9 for 4 or 5 products consistently. Many, and I mean many companies tried to beat Adobe in its industry. People commonly know Adobe from Photoshop, a popular image editing program, but Photoshop is just a start for an Adobe user. It has Illustrator for illustrations, Acrobat for PDFs, Premiere Pro for video editing, After Effects for motion graphic designing, InDesign for print work, Audition for audio, Lightroom for photographers. I mean, the list is very long. And Adobe is not a tech company that has free tier. Its users are paying customers that range from professionals to movie studios. Photoshop, After Effects, Premiere Pro, these are the things that made your favorite movies or shows watchable. There is no other company in the world that can beat Adobe in its industry, at least until 2023. 2023 saw the emergence of generative AI, or better known term LLM. Generative AI did not just create ripples in the search industry, but in the creative field too. But users of Adobe were too busy in their work and they are not the ones who can create noise on social media. Images and video editing and creation was a manual process until then. All editing and designing tools were manipulating pixels. You need to be a creative to imagine what you want to achieve, but you also have to learn the tool that will make that imagination into reality, and you need to practice a lot to make that reality look real, believable. But generative AI makes those pixels out of thin air. With generative AI, you just need the creativity and the rest tool and practice is taken care by AI or LLM. Now, Adobe had money. It had users, user data. It knew what users wanted, but it was slow and lazy. Sure, it presented some ideas in the start and even upgraded some options of the tools using AI that made them very, very effective and easy to use. Things like selecting objects and colors used to be a boring and tedious task on Photoshop and many other Adobe tools. Now it's very, very easy, but they thought that that would be enough. Remember the list of softwares I mentioned in the beginning of this video? Well, there is Google's Nano Banana that can do image manipulation, OpenAI's Sora and Google's own Veo that can do videos very well, 11 Labs can do audio very well, Lovable can do the web development. I mean, every direction where Adobe used to have zero competition, now there are Gen AI companies with better products that don't just do the job, they do it better, faster, easier, at much less price point, even sometimes free. But it's not like Adobe was sleeping this whole time. Adobe created its version of generative AI tool, Firefly, that can be used in principle at least. Whatever you can hope to do in Google Nano Banana should be 10 times better with Photoshop. Whatever you can hope to do in Google Nano Banana should be 10 times better with Photoshop with Firefly, because I mean it's Photoshop. It has been doing image editing since forever and its users are also professionals. So it should be easier and better, but it's not. It's just not. In fact, Adobe got so much frustrated with their own Firefly that they started testing Nano Banana inside Photoshop instead of Firefly. Which may look like okay to a marketer because we are used to having different options and less accurate output. But to a core Adobe user, it's not a good thing. It's not acceptable because results are not okay whether you are using Nano Banana or Firefly. As I said earlier, Adobe's users are not amateur wannabes. Adobe makes money from professionals who deliver ready to consume finished product And if Adobe is not able to give them, or some other company can do that in less time, less steps involved, and half the price, they will jump. Now, I'm not a scaremonger. Many companies have been trying to become Adobe killer or Photoshop killer for years, just like Google, but I never believed in it. I kept paying Adobe. I'm still paying for their 3 licenses. There was never a company or product that can come close to what Photoshop can do, or Illustrator for that matter, or Premiere Pro, or Adobe After Effects. They are unbeatable. And if we just talk in the traditional sense, there is still no company in the world that can beat Adobe. It has bigger monopoly than Google in that sense. But Adobe is not able to crack Gen AI, and the signs of crack are already appearing. Adobe bought SEMrush because it has Adobe Analytics that cater to higher end market already, enterprise clients, and SEMrush has small to medium sized market. Now, I know Adobe Analytics and SEMrush are not the same thing. I'm simplifying for the purpose of this video right now. But the thing is, Adobe bought SEMrush to make money from this market, the SEO. Adobe is not savior of SEO or SEMrush. It has a huge name, but this name is in trouble. Adobe is at the risk of losing its core users if it cannot acquire any other major AI company that can make its Firefly actually fly. Google might be looking at getting acquired itself. SEMrush acquisition is not something that was required for Adobe. What they needed was a good Gen AI team or company to join them, and even SEMrush should have looked for different options. Because if current board of SEMrush really care for the company, Adobe is not something that will help them scale up, but it's other way around. Adobe is not SEMrush savior. Adobe is hoping SEMrush to become its cash cow. In fact, Adobe might cut off some parts of SEMrush that are not money making from their point of view. Search engine land. Now, I know this will be very bad for SEO because whether you are in love with search engine land or not, it's a very, very useful publication for SEO industry, and we don't have that many of them in this industry. Things may look okay for 1 or 2 years, but Adobe has to do something really, really different, and they have to do really well. Otherwise, Adobe might see Google or Apple taking them over. That is my take on Adobe and SEMrush deal. What do you think about it? Let me know in the comment box. My name is Amit Tiwari for AmitTiwari.net, and I will see you next time. Take care.